welcome to the first Coasters and Crafters weekend workshop here on this wonderful server, PNT. How are you doing today, Frozen?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
You really are just the Minecraft form of Mr. Beat, but that's besides the point. Um, Today, we're going to be going over a multitude of topics. This is the first in a series of panels that we're going to be doing once a month, and you're going to follow our progress through those months and see what happens with this build. First, do you want to talk about what we're going to be doing today?
So, today we are going to be covering a very important step of the build process that I feel like maybe is not demonstrated as much because you'll often see build tutorials and everything that go through the whole step-by-step process, get into your nice finished build. But what we want to focus on today is outlining. Outlining is a skill that I've been working on a lot for the past few years, and it really allows you, if you do it right, to have your full finished build visualized really well right in front of you, so it's easy to do everything else. The detailing is just filling in if you already have everything laid out nice and neat. So that is the general goal today. We're going to be laying out. I'm undecided as to what yet. We could do a theme park section. We could do a ride. What do you want to do, Jacob? We want to do something that's a bit larger scale than what you'd see in the average 2-hour panel.
Yeah, that's true. I know we want to do that. So, truthfully, we could do the general outlines for this one, and then the next time we could show ride design and ride layouts. So I'd say we stick to a land. We stick to our section, you know what I mean? We outline it all out, where the exteriors are going, terrain, heights, and all that stuff. I think if we do that, we could really, do some very good stuff here. Outside of that, besides outlining, I know this is also promised in the event. We're going to be doing advanced bathroom design towards the end of the stream. That's going to be a
Wait,
solo.
Are we doing that today?
Yeah, advanced bathroom designs today, Frozen.
Okay, I guess y'all are getting bathrooms. Congratulations.
Yeah, we are going to be doing bathroom design. But yeah, Frozen, let's decide on what we're going to do. Come on. So let's fly around over here, probably, away from
I'm thinking
hell setup.
Let's make a balanced theme park land. Not something too big. We don't want to do too large scale, but maybe something that has room for a small dark ride, a little roller coaster, and like a flat ride. So later we can show the process for all those different things. But right now, what we need to do is decide on a theme. That is the first step.
Let's first go to the chat, see if anybody has any suggestions for us. If anybody does have any suggestions, you could type it in game or you could type it on Twitch, and we'll consider that for the theme. Nothing too stupid, Liz, but if there's some good suggestions, we might go with that. Epcot, Pieface, I will kill you in game again.
Actually, our goal here is to develop an idea that hasn't been done necessarily at Disney or Universal. We want to try to take just a broad idea and design a land based off of it. So nothing that's like, this Disney ride, this Universal ride. We want to take it, like, for instance, if someone suggested Toronto, we'd want to expand the idea of building a land based off of Toronto. Now, we're not going to do that because Jacob and I both hate Toronto, but...
What the hell is Toronto? Oh, Toronto, Canada.
Wait, did you actually not realize what I was talking about when I said Toronto?
Yeah, I had no freaking clue what just happened. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Tron. Oh, getting the scene created. No, the chat isn't going to give us any suggestions.
Well, hang on. Hold up. Bryce has suggested Area 51, the theme park. I think that, it's a bit of a silly idea, but it could be worked with.
Could do military installation with, like, desert terrain around it. But that doesn't fit, like, small land, does it?
Unless it was an indoor land. but I don't know if we want to tackle that for this. We could. The issue with an Area 51 land is you'd want your
Minecraft theme
large,
park.
flat desert
Frozen
scape,
Slime
probably.
actually has experience with the Minecraft theme park. He's done that before. Frozen here
I
has
have
done
done
Minecraft.
I have
park.
done Minecraft the Ride. That was one of my earliest projects.
Yeah, it's a brilliant project, isn't it? Well, Frozen, how about we do our specialty? And you know exactly what this is. Why don't we do a rustic land? It's simple enough. We know what we're doing with that, and we could show people the process. It has a good blend of buildings to terrain.
I suppose. But the
All right,
question is, are we going to decide what type of rustic land, or are we just going to start building and decide later?
let's wing it.
Hmm.
A lot of this
Okay.
community is winging it, honestly, and that's perfectly fine. Um, the first thing that I think we're going to want to do though is go over outlining in general and color coding. That's a very essential part of outlines. Um, Basically, when you're outlining a land, every single building has a different purpose. Every single area of the land has a different purpose as well. So you need to outline with respective blocks that represent exactly what you're trying to do. For example, um, brown would be, let's say, a shop. Let's say brown would be a shop. Red would be
Brown
a
is a
path.
shop. Red is a path.
Orange would be restaurants. Yellow would be what do you think, Frozen? What do you
Let's
think
see,
for
we have
yellow?
shops, restaurants, path. Yellow could be a ride building.
Ride building. Cheese was a good one, but I'm not sure if we're gonna have much cheese inside this land. For lime, let's do planter.
Now, if I can add to this for a second, whenever we outline, it's not necessarily like you don't have to start by coming over here, making your little rainbow, and immediately designating things. This is something you can wing. And like sometimes what I'll do is just like I'll take orange because I'm making a building that's like will probably be orange in the end. It really
Yeah,
is just a method, especially when you're just starting out, to help you better organize. And when your
yeah.
area is larger with more things, as it gets more complicated, this is a very helpful thing to do.
So we have terrain, shop, paths, restaurants, ride building, planter. Should we do ride facade or should we just?
Nah, I'd keep
Okay.
it to ride building.
Okay. Do you think we have a good blend here?
Well, I would suggest let's delete these for now, and I'm gonna add just a couple more. So, for the terrain, let's say that that is our grass layer. So, Deep Slate Gold Ore would be rock, and then
Which type of rock, Frozen?
that'll be our rock palette. You know, I don't really want to sit here just yet and decide what kind of rock we're going to do. In fact, we are probably not going to be doing any paletting today.
Get a move on, Frozen. Finish
This
your
is the
little thing here
extent.
so we can start outlining and show
Okay,
people the
that's it.
process
That's it.
of
We're done.
designing a
We're
land.
ready.
That's it.
We're ready. Everyone, we
So
are ready to start moving.
the next thing we're gonna do before we start outlining is we want to decide what the land has to have. So what we typically do is you make a board. So a board doesn't need to go over every single bit of detail, but it puts into perspective exactly what you're going to be having inside this land. So let's do unnamed theme park land 1. Pie faces.
We are not going to discuss naming on this particular panel.
No, I think Pie Faces Rustic Adventures pretty good thing.
Hey, Pie Face, what do you think of your rustic adventure? Oh,
Oh,
he doesn't like it.
died. Wow, that's really interesting.
Okay, so
So
I discussed previously, we want to have in this land, ultimately, we want to have a roller coaster, a dark ride, and a flat ride, just so we can have 3 main attractions. All they're pretty different. Just make kind of not a huge, but a pretty varied land. So those are going to be the main fixtures of the land, which you're ultimately going to kind of start with those and make everything else around it usually.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not gonna, maybe let's say it's a family roller coaster. Let's do a buzz bar dark ride. You know, buzz bar, just like a simple dark ride with a lap bar. Think like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride or Snow White's Scary Adventures. So it'll be
Yeah.
something kind of relatively small. And then let's do what flat ride should we do?
Oh, I don't know. I have no clue what flat ride we should do. What do you think?
Well, usually we
I,
default to teacups. I feel like maybe we should do something more unique for this beautiful panel.
why don't we do like Man and Sidewinder at Dolly?
That's a slide, but I suppose.
Let's do a slide. Let's do a slide for that.
Slides
Cool
are
for
great.
me.
Slides are great fixtures in theme parks. So
As
then,
for shops, this is more general. You really don't need to fill out shops, restaurants, and that stuff. You can figure that as you go. You just need to designate the space for it when you design the land. If you have like a really specific type of shop you want to make for like a specific theme, or you have a really like interesting restaurant idea that like integrates with the ride, then you'd put that down. But I don't think we have any ideas like that right now. And then for extras, let's do a interactive mine.
well,
Like a
hang
little
on, Jacob.
reminder.
You're forgetting the most important extra that's relevant to this particular panel.
Advanced bathrooms.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is a good starting point. We can get going based off of this. So we now have decided what things generally we're going to have in this land. Next step, I would say, do you want to do a mini model? Just a quick one.
You know what? Yeah, that'd be very good. So let's designate an area right next to this that we design a mini model. So what a mini model is it's obviously a miniature scale model of the land that you would use to basically put together in piece together a layout. We're gonna do it within this black box. Let's fill it with magenta wool. No, let's fill it with
Magenta wool.
magenta wool. Terrain. Yeah, magenta wool represents terrain, so this works. So, I think that we should be positioning rides on the outside of the land. Because therefore you can have show buildings that are on the exterior of the park. You kind of want to position your show buildings to be facing towards the exterior of the park, because you can then make bigger show buildings and not worry about integrating them into the center of a park and worrying about, viewpoints and logistically covering a giant show building in the middle of your place. So, you agree with that, Frozen?
I do. However, I will state that as far as roller coasters, I feel like people go about coasters in two different ways. You'll either put your coaster in kind of its own space, or what's popular is to integrate your coaster around the land, around the park paths, give the entire thing some kinetic energy. So I think that's what we should do here. So, dark ride, kind of in one of the corners, and then we'll have a roller coaster that's winding around kind of whatever our central plaza is or our main network of paths that we're going to add.
Yeah,
And then the flat ride, you can really stick that wherever. Flat rides are kind of like shops and restaurants in that they can go in much smaller spaces.
I'm gonna add
So we have our
one more.
dark ride here. It's just going to be a box.
I'm gonna
for
add
now.
one more
We
wool
may
block
change that.
for exteriors / facades that maybe would be used for ride entrancing and that stuff. Because I want to do like this for the ride building here. Then I would say we would want this coaster to kind of be in like a little bit of a rustic town, right?
Mhm.
So let's build up what would be some exteriors.
Well, first, what I want to do is make just a little circle, and let's say that this is like our central hub path for the land, just like a town square sort of thing.
Mhm.
So, like right here would be kind of the main thoroughfare.
Our
Now, we could put the flat ride in the center of this. I'm thinking maybe for this land, we could well, we're not doing a flat ride anymore. My mistake. Jacob threw the slide at me. So the slide we're probably going to also put on the edge, kind of like the dark ride.
Mm-hmm. So I'm
So we have our
thinking,
path here. It'll go by the dark ride. We want to kind of figure out where the paths are going to end, where the land exits would be, where they'd connect to other lands. But like you're gonna want to start by making a broad path design, your main paths, and then if you want to add more depth to your land, add smaller networks of paths later.
mm-hmm.
For this model, we're really only going to be able to show larger paths, just because it's a mini model. There's not a ton of space to work with. But it gives us a general idea of where to put the main things, so we can start outlining, get a good sense of the proportions and scaling for everything.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. So these
So
little
maybe
dots here are going to be smaller, detail-oriented buildings that just build up the land's exterior.
mhm.
You can have small little shops throughout your land, just interactive interiors, stuff like that. We want this area to kind of feel like the main area of town. So what we could do is we could place quite a few buildings around this section, to kind of make that feel like the main part. So this is what I think first, and I think we do the top half up here, this whole area as the town,
Okay,
and this area over here as nature.
I agree.
Um, so we orient the town on this corner, and then the remaining area will be nature.
I think what I am going to do is move my main hub to somewhere,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be exact right now, but over here. And then this will be kind of like maybe a wilderness loop, what I did previously. Maybe we can add some smaller trails later, just for some exploration. So I'm positioning the coaster in such a way so that it will enter in the town, and then our coaster layout will kind of wind around these trails. So you'll have smaller paths that will give you an opportunity to explore kind of hidden areas that are within the coaster's layout.
This is where, so I'm going to add some mountains on the border here, and I think this is where we have our little interactive mine area and possibly the slide.
I would definitely
Uh,
put the slide in there. I agree.
you know, I think if we basically make that area that, it can really, really work. So I'm just going to fill that with the ride building.
And we haven't done it yet, but it is good to add the verticality to your mini model as well. Just kind
Yeah.
of show
Right now we're
the
like it's a
sizing
little
for
bit
everything.
flat. You're going to want to incorporate some rock work throughout the entire land, even inside city areas.
Larry
And
would be
also,
delighted with it.
you're also going to want to add elevation, which we're going to be doing in a bit, to paths. You kind of don't want perfectly flat lands, unless like you're trying to make your park as realistic as possible. Because a lot of parks in real life, obviously, are perfectly flat. Take Disney World for example; it has some elevation changes by in Magic Kingdom by what's it called? Uh, Tangled bathrooms. But that's about it.
By what?
The tangled bathrooms.
Ah,
There's a little
I
bit of
suppose.
elevation change there. Um, but since it's Minecraft, you kind of want to take advantage of that. You're not working with budget. So make your thing as crazy as possible, honestly. That's kind of what you want to go for. The more crazy it is, honestly, the better. Don't make things super basic just for the sake of that. Experiment, test different heights.
However, and I will stress this, don't make your outline overwhelmingly large, because with an outline, and you may see this later, it's very easy for your eyes to get bigger than your stomach, and you end up outlining something that's more than you want to commit to. So, especially at first, it's good to start with something that's very buildable and keep working on that, start going larger and larger.
Yep, I entirely agree.
So far we have our main ride building, we have our coaster station building. Maybe this is a little tall. I'll shorten it a bit. And then we have our wilderness trail area back here. Got this trail into a ravine. And then over here we have a mountainous area, which is where our mine area, maybe play structure or something, and then the slide will go. So, and then
Yep.
we also have shops and restaurants that we haven't really formally put down because of how small the model is, but they will be sprinkled in those general areas. So I think we are now ready to start the full-size outline.
I would agree. But before we do that, let's decide a general coaster route that would go through this land.
Hmm.
Um,
All right, what do you want to use for the coaster block?
Let's go for Grey Wool. I'm thinking it would exit here.
Right.
We have it go through nature, around here. I'm going to do a flat outline and then we'll height it, right? We
Okay.
have it go through the mountains and or around the mountains where the slide is. Maybe have some cool interactions there. Have it turn around, and then we have it go through the city, breaking through buildings and stuff. Turn it back around, and get its layout to extend right here. Maybe we bring it inside the show building for a second.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
All right, we could have it keep on going through town.
Ultimately, with coasters, there's a lot you can do with them, especially as far as bringing them around the general areas. But when doing that, just remember to have a purpose for what you're doing. For instance, Jacob, if I recall, back in the days of KW6 Craft, you designed a little spot where we had a dark ride and we had a wooden coaster, Wendigo, and it went into the dark ride show building
That was a
for about 2
mistake.
seconds.
It was a mistake, and it wasn't even a show building. It was Pickle Mountain, in case you don't remember.
I do remember. But my point is, in that case, we added something where the coaster went through the dark ride, and in theory it's cool, but in practice you couldn't really see either ride.
It was a lackluster interaction. There was no reason to have them interact. Sure.
So in this case, like if we were going to make it go through the dark ride, you'd want to really have a reason for it to do
my
that.
idea is this: we have it drop out of the station, go through some forest in the gravity portion, and then hit a lift hill that brings it over the mountain.
Right.
And then we have it obviously go full gravity the rest of the ride.
Okay, I like this idea.
Are we going to keep this low so it's a terrain coaster?
Which part of it?
The first part.
Yeah. No, my idea for that would be like a little ravine on the edge.
And then I'd say for the slide, we just have it going through the mines. Maybe we have the mine be flooded.
Okay.
And that's one of the things inside the mine. So let's, just before we move on to building it, what we're going to do now is you want to visualize your ride placements to see if the land is filled properly. Let's say, for example, every single attraction we had here, all three, were all like in the top left corner. That would mean the rest of the land is empty. So let's just take a fly above. We're going to look at the relative placement of the yellow buildings in particular, because that's where the rides are. And to me, Frozen, I'd say that's a pretty good layout.
I agree.
We have well balancing here. Every single corner basically has something to do. And I think this will work. So yeah, I'd say we start working. I'd say the easiest place to start would be the show building for the dark ride. It's a large central structure that we could build the rest of these facade layouts off of, and then the rest of the land should come together relatively simply. When it comes to how we're going to outline those, you do not want to make incredibly advanced facades first thing. You want to make general layouts. So firstly, let's put it above the ground so we don't need to clear out space. So let's fill this with glass, let's say 70. A good starting platform here. I'm going to position this here.
I would say you should make it a bit bigger.
Okay, Frozen. Fine then. How much bigger?
You had it as 70?
There's 150. No complaining.
Okay. See, that's about what you're going to want size-wise for a land of this scale.
So I'm going to start positioning where I am just going to look at general sizing for the dark rides building. So it's more rectangular than a perfect square.
So there are two ways to go about doing a dark ride show building, and we've both done both of them. You can start by just like doing the track layout and then making your building around that, or doing building first, track layout later. It's good generally to set aside your plot of land for a dark ride first, because especially with a story-driven ride like that, it's important that you don't want to have your layout kind of go into a hole and then you got to get out of that, and it's not great when that happens when you don't
For
have the
reference,
space you want.
however, though, for reference, me and Frozen have worked on rides before where the layout gets out of control because it's not constrained. Um, you gotta have to find a balance, uh, where you need to limit yourself somewhat so you don't bite off more than you can chew, but ultimately don't make it so you can't achieve what you want to with the ride. Frozen, would you say there's a big enough layout? I definitely think it's big enough. I
I would
think it's
almost say we
great.
might not end up using all the space depending on how big our ride is.
Yep, that's true. We might not, and we could always make it smaller. Um, should that happen, I'm gonna make it a bit tall, because I think there's nothing wrong with getting a little bit extra height. We could always incorporate the facades around it to make that work, you know. And that's that's pretty much what we need to do. I'd say that's a good start here. Uh, Now we're gonna outline some facades. So firstly, we're gonna have the dark right enter on this corner. Do you think it's a good idea, Frozen, having it enter on the corner?
No, no, I don't actually.
You don't?
I would say it's best to have the dark ride enter maybe on a spot around here or something, because your station space, you're usually going to want it to be a straight track, usually a fairly long piece, and you want to have room for that. You don't want to necessarily have it enter in the corner and then make it have to immediately turn if you don't want to. So I
What
would
we could
say in
do,
a show building like this, it's usually going to be best to put it, somewhere in the middle.
what we could do is we center it here, and because it's the central entrance, what we could do then is make a plaza around it that's off of this building.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start doing that. Let me see the wool that I'm gonna need to grab for the respective things. So exterior facades is this, restaurants and shops. Right. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start putting in general box-shaped layouts. Um, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You don't want to do incredibly complex stuff yet. You want to just get together a basic image of how your land's gonna look. Um, because once you do that, you can start then figuring out the specifics. You don't want to go too specific yet because you don't know if what you're doing works or doesn't work. Wouldn't you agree, Frozen?
Hmm. So this is what you want for the ride entrance building.
Yep. It's a bit small, I know. But given that it's, a relatively simple dark ride, it's not like an e-ticket. It's just like a what? C-ticket dark ride.
Yeah,
Uh,
Buzzbar Dark Red. Just kind of a
we don't.
simple. We'll show the Dark Red design. Maybe not today. I don't think we'll get to the layout until next time, depending on how long this all takes. But we
We,
want to show a Dark Red that's fairly simple, but you can still do a lot with it.
yeah, I entirely agree.
So that will be the
Uh,
general space for our entrance building. Then we want to start adding the most important thing in this case is we do not want our show building to be visible from
yeah,
the park pathways. So we have to design our buildings in such a way so that that isn't the case.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, what we gotta do is this is gonna be the entrance building. Let's put maybe some wings on it to make it so it's a building that sticks out from its surroundings a tad. So I'm gonna do this. Just a small little side building that's next to it, and then I'm gonna start angling off some new buildings. So this is a shop. 5, 6, 7.
You know what? I am going to bring our color codes up to our platform.
That would help, wouldn't it?
It would.
And once you
Usually, it's better to like all the stuff that we did with the mini model. We usually would put that like on the platform where we're building. In this case, we forgot.
yep, pretty much. You're gonna forget some things sometimes.
But also make sure to put it in an area where you're not going to remove it, or else you're just going to have to move it later, and that's mildly annoying. So I put our outlines over, or not our outlines, our outline color codes over here. So a restaurant would be orange, a shop for this will be brown. So on the other side, maybe we'll have the exit of the ride kind of over here, closer to this corner than the entrance, and then we can have an exit gift shop.
Just putting together a semi like basic, just not what's it called? Not symmetrical outline. You want the town to feel natural, so you don't want the buildings to just look like a row, right? You're gonna want different points where they're meeting, maybe some exteriors kind of clipping other exteriors. Um, it's a balancing act between making it work design wise, like make it easy enough, but also making it feel natural for the environment. Do you have any tips for that type of thing, Frozen? You know, the balancing act of land design.
Well, it's not just gonna come naturally. You gotta get a feel for it over time. You gotta experiment with it. You're not always gonna get it first try. Aside from that, you summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, it's a long process, but the more you experiment, as Frozen said, and the more you learn, the better off you'll be. Definitely. I've seen some of Frozen's work. So when we both used to work at KDB6 Craft, good old Frozen here applied, and he applied with some very interesting builds.
Oh
And
yeah, those were the
seeing
days, folks.
where he is now, in comparison to where he was then, it's so incredible. I have my old builds from hell 2016, 2017. They're so bad. But, you improve over time. That's what it's all about. Just put in the time and you'll get there eventually. But you just gotta start. You gotta start trying. You gotta start pushing yourself. Um, I pushed Frozen a lot to try very, very hard. And he's also done the same to me. You just gotta build a good team around you that's willing to, put in the work to see the product delivered to the highest quality possible. Wouldn't you agree, Frozen?
I would.
You would. I'm just working on getting some exteriors over here, making the whole area feel relatively cohesive. I'm gonna add a little alley over here that dead ends, but you can. I'm gonna make it so there is a shop here that exits into the alley, but also enters onto the main path to kind of make it feel, I guess, connected to the city in a way. Um, but yeah. So the goal is you want to have a good blend of shops, restaurants, generalized just exteriors, facades, make the area feel. You can also have those exteriors and facades function as not necessarily a shop or restaurant, but kind of a, how would you describe it? Like interactive place? Wouldn't you say, Frozen? Like kind of like an interactive interior. You could have
Hmm.
some buildings function as that, where they aren't necessarily selling anything. They could just be like a little experience.
Right. It's good to have buildings that maybe just have little bits of story to flesh out the world of the land that you're building. I mean, generally, you'll want to have a lot of buildings have a functional purpose to give you a reason to go inside, but sometimes buildings that just have, an animatronic inside.
Welcome back.
Uh-oh.
Your your internet died, or was it mine?
I have no idea, but it looks like I unfortunately disconnected from the stream for a second.
Awesome. You were saying, oh, it was mine. It was mine. Ah, that's a shame. Um, so Frozen, you were saying, having interiors that just might have an animatronic in it that's like a storyteller, or might just be like an abandoned interior that has like signs or books you can read or details you could catch up on that fleshes out the land. Those do a
Hmm.
lot. They really do a ton of heavy lifting. They can make your land feel really lived in, wouldn't you say?
I would.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm personally a very big proponent of designing lands that have those types of storytelling, like that type of storytelling in it. That to me is one of the best parts about designing, you know, theme park, where especially because we're in Minecraft, right? Especially because we don't have a budget to work with, just go crazy on it. Disney might not be willing to make a ton of, interiors that don't really serve a purpose, but what's stopping you? You know, just flesh out your land. There's really no negative to doing it that way, in my opinion. Right now, I'm working on a major retail location, like the biggest shop in the land, because it's kind of by the coaster, um, kind of in the middle of the town.
Jacob, we did previously agree that brown is retail. That's correct.
Brown's retail? I thought
I
Brown was
believe so.
a restaurant.
Let's see.
Oh, I'm wrong.
No, brown is retail, Jacob.
Okay, then yeah, this will be
So,
a major restaurant location. There we go. That works. That
because I
actually
was
works
gonna
better.
say,
Restaurants
over
are better.
here, I am making, oh man, I am making the main retail shop location.
It's looking great, man. You're doing awesome over there.
This over here is what I would generally refer to as a pretty large building.
That'd be great.
So this facade, well, not facade, this building that I'm working on is going to have multiple tiers, multiple kind of different buildings within buildings. It's going to be a pretty large structure with a lot going on.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this building here is gonna be the edge of the town on my end. I'm gonna kind of connect this with a terrain outline to the show building, and this is just
Okay,
gonna be the back of the land.
that works. On
Kind of
the other
extend.
side, I decided to cut off at least the facades we've done so far just at the exact same base as where the dark ride ends. So over here, we
Perfect.
could continue the town a little longer. We could have an exit path out of the land, or we could just do some terrain
Yeah.
or trees or something.
When it comes to making your land's border, you do want it to feel natural. Why did I say natural like that? Did you hear that? That was weird.
Nope.
Um,
It sounded like natural to me. In fact, it sounded pretty normal.
I heard
This is not a
natural.
case of
I
natural.
heard, I heard natural. I was like, ooh, it sent shivers down my spine. Um, so what you kind of don't want is you don't want like a flat wall that ends your land. Obviously, you're gonna kind of want to design a border that makes it look cohesive and natural. So for me, this end of the town, the reason why the town didn't extend any further is there's going to be rock work over here. I'm going to try to incorporate rock work throughout the entire town. You don't just want rock work in one area of your land. If you're going to have it, incorporate it right. You want to have a good mix of it being in, town areas, maybe not as like a major thing, but like on the side of a building, you could have a bit of rock work. Um, wouldn't you say, Frozen, that rock work can be utilized really well to pad spaces, but also just make it feel more natural. Make
I
it make more
agree.
sense.
But however, I will add, and this is important with trees as well, because I used to abuse trees. You want to make sure you still have room for natural borders and really like use those two in combination to like make borders, use terrain and nature to, cover a facade, for instance, but make sure it still looks like terrain. Like, don't build just like a line of trees in front of your show building.
Yeah, I would agree. Um, you do want to use it properly, 100%. If you don't, well, your land might end up feeling really incohesive. So let me see this. I'm comparing a photo to below to what we have right now. All right. We're already going slightly off our mini model, which is fine. You can get a mini model just to get a good idea. But once you have your mini model, you could follow it if you want. If you have a better idea, go with it. It just helps you, visualize what you're going to go for, getting your ideas on paper in a way. Wouldn't you agree there, Frozen, that you can kind of off-road it when
Mhm.
it comes to it? You don't
Yeah,
have to follow your, you
I
don't have to
never
follow your
follow the mini
HOG.
models exactly. Like, if you do, there's no reason to. It's good for showing what you want to do, but if you're gonna follow like your mini model path layout exactly, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit.
It's definitely true. A mini model can't really get all the intricacies of designing the land. Um, Even though it's good for getting a reference of what you're messing with. Uh, it's definitely not a 100% deciding factor in how you should handle your land. Don't let it entirely control what you're going to go for. Don't just base everything off of the mini model, because there really might be better decisions you can make that you just weren't able to visualize because of how small it was. All right. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put this off here.
So over on this side, I've decided that after the big shop building, I
Mhm.
am going to make a transition into a path that goes out of the land. So this will be one of our exit paths. I'm going to build like a little kind of gate at the end of the town, maybe like a fort or something. So I'm gonna have a little building here. I'm gonna have kind of like an archway, maybe a bridge. I've decided, and that's how you'll exit. So kind of a more defined exit to your land. Sometimes land transitions will be a bit less obvious than that. Maybe you'll just do a forest sometime.
Yeah, I'm right now gonna be figuring out my transition over here. I don't have a dead set plan yet for what I'm gonna be doing. Do not have a 100% surefire idea. I think I might just transition it out with just terrain. Just some rock work, some simple stuff, like a forest path, kind of. Um, if I do that, it's simplistic enough, and that would mean that your entrance just isn't a forest path is unique. My entrance, which is a forest path, is also unique.
Hmm.
You do not want all entrances inside your land to look the same. Um, you're gonna want to diversify how your land enters, but also make it cohesive where every single entrance kind of fits the land. So like there's the nature aspect. So the forest entrance would work. There's the old rustic western city aspect. So Frozen's forest. It's a fort entrance would work. Um, I think we're gonna have one more nature entrance by the mine, but it should all work relatively based on the land's theme. Now, there's a terrible example of a land entrance that I'm going to purposely bring up. Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios. That is that is probably the number one example of how to not transition your land. Wouldn't you agree, Frozen?
I would agree. At Disneyland, it's okay, and the reason
Mm-hmm.
is they choose to have forest transition to forest on the career country end and the frontierland end. They did a pretty Frontierland, they did a very good job making the cave transition, even though, you can't connect Star Wars at all to any of these Disneyland lands. They took
Hmm.
aspects of it, like forest, caves, and transitioned them. Whereas at Hollywood Studios, no, no, they didn't. They did nothing. They made a tunnel.
Yeah, and you could definitely feel that it's jarring. When you're there, oh man, is it jarring? It's ridiculous. It's honestly baffling how rough it is. Uh, Let me go grab the lantern color.
Now, in this case, we're not going to add other lands, but part of cohesion with your land transitions is to make sure that all of your lands connect in the same park. They feel like they're in the same place. If you want to have an overarching story between them, it's good to add some connective tissue in that way.
Me and Frozen have a lot of experience in doing that. Once again, mentioning KDB6 Craft, we kind of tried to connect a lot of the newer lands inside that park with each other. Um, we wanted to kind of tell a story that happened over decades, and to do that, let's say one of the lands, which is called Camp Waterpagel. There's a
Oh
character on a
yeah.
ride there with a specific name, and you can trace his name back to another ride, which was in another land right next to it called Kokijiwan Valley. It took place in a different era. Um, it's connective tissue. You can establish like a brand in one of your lands. Like let's say there's like a drink stand called Frozen's Lemonade, right? Let's say that land that it's in is like based in the 1850s. Let's say you do another land in the 1950s. Frozen's Lemonade has become a conglomerate. It has a much bigger, has a much bigger building. For example, the 1950s land. Um, just cohesion, you know, making a story. Now, not all parks are obviously trying to do that, but if you are, definitely try to include it inside your land. I know me and Frozen enjoy doing that because it's a unique thing. Not everybody does do it, and if you do it, you're giving your park a competitive edge, in my opinion, by making it, I guess, more interesting for your guests to explore and have fun with. Wouldn't you say that, Frozen?
I would. Um, I think with that whole concept, just to like tie it to a real world example, the Society of Explorers and Adventurers at Disney parks is like a perfect example of what we're talking about. Just taking all these different characters and storylines across different time periods and just connecting all these different lands of the Disney parks through that.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I would agree entirely. Um, that's probably one of honestly modern Disney's best things. I'm kind of happy they incorporated Jungle Cruise with it because it totally makes sense at Jungle Cruise. Like it just makes sense. Um, but yeah, it's creating a, I guess, connective storyline between all your projects that can really make the park feel, I guess, like more than just a one-trick pony. By giving it that added depth, you can genuinely get a lot of interest out of that. Like people can really look into the stories that you've told, and they'll take them more seriously too. If there's like connective lore, people are gonna take it way more seriously. Uh, but yeah, wouldn't you agree, Frozen?
I would. I, for one, very much enjoy lands and parks that have that depth a lot more than lands and parks that don't.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I just enjoy the storytelling that you can do. Remember, you're not working with a budget in Minecraft unless you're paying your workers, and then well, you are working with a budget. But you're not working with the same budgetary constraints as a real life park is. So kind of just go all out. Like for me, just do everything you can to use your resources properly. You know, you have the advantage when it comes to designing theme park lands on here. You don't need to worry about the logistics. You just got to worry about making it fun and enjoyable and making it make sense. And don't get me wrong, that could be a daunting task, but I, for one, think it's definitely a fun task to design your lands in a very interesting way. When it comes to big storylines, though, you might want to plan those out ahead of time, because if not, you're going to be doing a lot of retconning. On KB6Craft, we had a ton of retconning. Oh my god, you remember that, Frozen? The retconning on that server was pretty tremendous.
My memories of 2021 are becoming slightly foggy, so as far as specific story details, I'll admit I'm losing it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when you add stuff in later, I mean, sometimes it can be a good thing, like Jungle Cruise, for instance. That was not part of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, but I mean, that was a way for that ride to add more to it. But sometimes, yeah, you want to make sure that what you're doing is purposeful and not shoehorned.
Yep, I entirely agree. Um, you gotta have to have a balance there. If you're just connecting a previously made ride to one of your new lands for the sake of it, and it's not like adding a like it's not like positively changing it, it's just an addition, right? Where it's like, oh, we added this animatronic to connect it to this. You might not want to do that. You might want to look for meaningful connections between your attractions and lands as opposed to just a shoehorn.
Hmm.
Um, and that's obviously a process that you figure out over time, what would be a good thing, what would be a bad thing. But if you get that down, you could really make your lands work. Three, one, two, three, one, two, three. And three. I'm fine with that. Frozen, what do you think about my town on the other side? My flat outlines of buildings. Trying to diversify them a bit, but I think it'll work. I'm gonna
Hmm.
start doing some height mapping now.
My only question, if I recall, this is the alleyway that you planned
Yeah,
right
it's an
here.
alleyway. Yeah.
What is your plan for when it actually gets up to the show building?
So we're gonna block it off right here, and we're gonna make it look like this is another building that's facing inwards towards the alley.
Okay.
So we're gonna line this with a few different facades here to make it look like an alleyway properly, and this is just gonna transition into a building that ends the alleyway. If that makes sense.
Right.
I'm gonna outline that too, so don't worry about it. It'll all be outlined. Maybe this is like this building here is a new construction. I am gonna assume that we're probably placing this in the late 1800s, so they started doing taller buildings. So maybe this
Right.
is a new brick top construction.
I like this idea.
So now we're just bringing up height outlines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't need to follow height outlines religiously. They just help so you can visualize what the land's going to look like. They really do a tremendous amount going from flat to, actually vertical outlining. It can absolutely change how your land feels. Even in the outlining phase, there's a tremendous difference. when you do the jump. So like you can look at my outlines here, these flat ones, these are not giving the same effect as Frozen's right now. Your Frozen's, you can visualize, oh, those buildings are coming up. With mine, you can't, right? Mine, they're purely from a vertical standpoint, you know, looking straight down at them, they work. But they don't have the same effect. So now I'm bringing them up to make them work better. 7, 3, 4.
Now, right now, I'm outlining in a slightly different way because, I stopped doing the buildings for a second because I'm working on the mine area. So I wanted to start by kind of outlining where the path will go, kind of how it will enter. And right now, I'm making this will probably be like a chute, to send coal down the mountain or something. So I wanted it to go over the other path, so that's why I've already elevated it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You can work horizontally and vertically at the same time as long as you know what you're doing. Although the end goal, you should have everything outlined fully, horizontally, vertically, before you really get started.
I have a question, Frozen. I have a genuine question. Do you think we should ask Chezer what he wants to see inside this land?
I would love to ask Chezer what he would like to see, as he is Chezer, the almighty, wise individual.
I'd love to get Chezer in here. Chezer, what do you want to see?
What do I want to see?
What do you want to see?
Well, Jacob, as I look at my stream to make sure my audio is coming through this time, I want to see a huge ride go through this entire land. Can we make that happen?
Not in this stream.
Stream.
But in a subsequent stream, certainly we can make that happen.
However, Chezer, that is the ultimate plan. We're going to have that coaster going around the entire thing.
That's going to look really cool.
Isn't it? I definitely think it will. Frozen, we decide the location for the interactive bathrooms.
That does need to happen.
I say we put them front and center because they are the main attraction of this land.
Front and center. So the ride facade building becomes the interactive bathrooms, brother?
No. I say we make the entire dark ride building a big interactive bathroom. Would you agree?
Chezer, what do you think about this idea?
The dark room building.
The dark ride building becoming a giant interactive bathroom.
This huge building.
Yeah.
That's gonna win some records. Surely.
Definitely it would.
It's a big bathroom, but it's not big enough for you, is it?
Nope. Never is.
Bigger for you.
Always.
So I don't know about that.
Man. Well, thank you, Chezer.
I do think they should be, front and center. Definitely prevalent.
First, do you think I should switch these out to be bathrooms? This restaurant here?
Which one?
This small one.
That wouldn't be a bad place, but I will say with restrooms, since your average bathroom in real life is gonna have a male and a female restroom, and you want to make those equal. It's like bathrooms you should make symmetrical. So in that case, that space will work. But like if we were gonna choose another area, I would say you might have to rework the building slightly.
I mean, I'm getting in a pretty good layout here. I'm looking here, and I think this will work 100%. And I could realign this so it is a perfect square-ish sort. It's gonna break into the show building for the dark ride a bit, but that's fine. We could always work.
Yeah, the dark riding, the dark ride show building at the present is simply a box, but it doesn't have to stay a box. We haven't really finished that yet. Once we make a dark ride layout, which I don't think we're gonna have time for today, that's when we'll have our final layout for what the building's actually gonna be.
So I definitely like TP. This is definitely big enough for a bathroom. I'm fine with this. Look at that.
Yeah, that's good. That's a bathroom right there. Bathrooms are small usually, but that's gonna work.
excited for that. That's going to be the finale of the stream. Now we know where that's going to be happening. That will be perfect. Let me get a... If, Chezzer, do you want to zoom in on my screen? This is an overhead map of what our land looks like right now. You can kind of see how it looks like a town, you know, with sparsely placed buildings, with building clusters towards the show building to make that look like the denser part of town. We have buildings coming off of that cluster to make it look like the town extends a bit, but not too far. These little green things are planters. I'm probably going to add a few planters over here inside this section. But yeah, you can kind of see exactly what's going on right here, where it's starting to look like a land. You know, it is. And it's just about outlining it. Once you have your outlines in, it's a lot easier. I would never suggest just going in and building. You don't want to just do that. Wouldn't you agree, Frozen? Just don't do that.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I feel like that is one of the main things that differentiates my older builds from my newer builds. Outlining is... That's why I wanted to dedicate this entire panel to it, because I believe outlining is very important.
I entirely agree. It is a incredibly important thing.
So if there's one takeaway from this panel, just remember that planning is good. Outlining, no matter how you do it, no matter how much you do it, it will help.
It will. It will always help. It's better to do some planning, even if you don't plan it out like we are, than none. You know, just getting a general idea of what you're doing can do so much to help you start visualizing and just getting that land built. Also, it's you can have a lot more motivation for a land when you see exactly what needs to be done. If you outline it too large, it's not going to be motivation. It's gonna, you're going to be unmotivated. But if it's outlined right, it's going to seem doable. It'll seem like a doable project, and yeah, I mean, it'll be tackleable. It will be tackleable. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to outline the whole land today. Certainly not. But we're going to be able to get through a really big chunk, kind of go over some of the basics here. We're mainly doing exterior outlining, obviously. There's going to be a little bit of interior outlining with the bathrooms. I think that's going to be the exception. I think everything else will be exterior outlines.
I still cannot believe we're doing the bathrooms today.
Do you have a problem with that?
I mean, I think it's unfair to the rest of the stream because the bathrooms are so important that I'm worried people aren't going to get anything out of the remaining 90 minutes of the stream. They're just going to focus on the bathrooms.
Is there anything wrong with saying the bathroom?
It's like if a professor tries to teach you the entire class in just one lecture, but spends maybe 90 minutes on like the first chapter, right? And then the last 30 minutes on everything else. But really, obviously, everything else is more important than just the one thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't see what you're getting at. I'm a little bit slow, Frozen.
It's like a popularity contest. The bathrooms are the most popular thing, so it will draw attention away from the rest of the panel.
I think it's a good thing. I think they deserve their recognition finally. I'm glad that bathrooms are, you know, becoming a more notable feature in theme parks.
Well, there is a slight issue that we have to work with, because we have decided that our land will take place in, you know, turn of the century, maybe a bit before. We need to take into account, perhaps, the state of bathrooms at that time.
Outhouse in the middle of the town. That'd be awesome. No, I think we're gonna go the Disney route and just not care about that. You know, I think that's what we're gonna do.
Disney did set the standard.
Exactly. You know,
So up
technically,
here,
Harry Potter, the bathrooms in Harry Potter aren't lore accurate either, because if I remember correctly, um, wizards used to just take a crap wherever they wanted and use the spell to teleport away.
Hogwarts has bathrooms though in the movie.
Well, that doesn't make sense because they used to not do that, according to J.K. Rowling. What? Like, come on.
In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, there is a whole action scene with the troll inside a bathroom. So I think it's fine.
I'm not remembering an action scene with a troll inside the bathroom.
Excuse me, everyone who has watched Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone or read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, do
Isn't
we
that
not
literally the
remember
worst film?
the scene where Hermione goes into the bathroom and locks herself in there, and the troll walks into the bathroom? And then I can't remember. I
does
think
the
they kill the
walk
troll
into the
or
bathroom?
severely injure it.
Why did he walk into the bathroom?
I don't know.
Was he
Oh.
strolling?
Well, it was because of Professor Quirrell or Voldemort put it there.
Mhm.
It was one of the many strange occurrences around Hogwarts. Anyway, so I'm working on I want to have a little play structure up here. So I'm going to make a big pad where eventually I'm going to put, if you will, play equipment.
Okay.
Structures akin to that of a themed playground, obviously, but just the general kind of space on the path where
I'm
I want to
putting
have that
the
stuff.
high point of the town right now here. So my idea for this version is this is going to be a... Have you seen Back to the Future Part 3?
No, I have not.
Never seen Back to the Future.
I have seen part 1, I've seen part 2, not 3.
Really? What's the point of watching Part 1 and Part 2 but not Part 3, Frozen?
Because
So
the
the idea
sequels are
here-
not as good.
Part 3 is way better than Part 2. Part 3 is awesome.
Okay, well, I didn't know that, and I haven't gotten around to it.
This is going to be an under construction clock tower with scaffolding at the top. It's not going to fully extend to the top. It's going to look like the top section is basically being built up. Given that it's somewhat turn of the century, they started making higher buildings, right? So let's kind of go into that when it comes to designing the facade around the dark ride, where I have these higher buildings, being made or being constructed and all that. I think that could really, really work for this.
That would definitely be a fun extra dimension to add to this land.
When it comes to rustic, you can go a few ways. One of them is you go old Appalachia rustic, which is shorter wooden buildings. You could go frontier semi-large city, which is some small buildings, but also they're building some larger brick tops. Or you can go just sparse. And I think we should go frontier semi-large city with this one, where they're starting to get into building some, bigger stuff. I don't want to go, Appalachian South. We've done that too many times, Frozen.
I don't know. There's always an opportunity to perfect a concept we've done in the past.
Call it that. Could work. Yeah, let's when I finish this one, I'm gonna take a fly back and see how this land is looking. I'm just gonna build up this outline really quickly. Yeah, outlining, it's a fun process. It's the easiest process when it comes to doing things because you don't need to see it through to perfection, right? You're just putting, basic building blocks down. So it's an easy first process that can really get you kind of dedicated to the project and focused on it. Right. I think that actually looks pretty cool, especially from in front of the Dark Ride's entrance. It kind of looks like with the clock tower peeking over, it kind of looks like it's viewing into the town square in a way. You know?
So looking down here, TP Jacob, from
Yeah.
over here, from a little further away from the Dark Ride facade, we can see the top of the Dark Ride show building. So that's something we're gonna need to mess with a little bit.
That's actually what I'm doing right now. You see, I'm starting to extend some stuff.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make multi-heighted brick tops.
Okay.
Um,
I guess I'm not sure I would do that across the entire thing. Maybe
Yeah,
as
might
it
still
starts
be
to
some-
approach the edges, we could lower the ceiling or do some terrain instead.
I could have some terrain patches, like maybe over here I can make it look like a mountain backdrop. I might be able to make that work. We'll see. Then mountain like this, just like that. All right.
So right now, I kind of made my main path up to this play structure. I'm adding a little sub path right now, just so people can, walk into a different little section just for fun. Not really any a concrete purpose for it.
Three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. There we go on that. Connect with the height go building. Right, go. Now it's building up these wood buildings. I'm gonna take a look over there first and see what you're doing in a second. Because I've not actually looked over at your section in a while. Four. Alright, first, I see what you're doing here. This would be the central area inside the mines, I assume, this play section?
That would be correct. And I don't want to do like an indoor play section. I'm thinking maybe we could have like some caves overhanging, but it would be cool to have kind of like an indoor-outdoor area.
I agree. I agree. I 100% think that's a great idea. Let's take a look at my map again, see how the land's shaping up. Not much has changed because I'm putting in vertical stuff, but you can kind of see this path that's going to be connecting to here. And you can kind of get a feel for the land's layout more so now. You got to imagine that path is going through this whole section as well, where path would be going, like this red would be extending through this whole town area, with some planters being mixed in, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's really starting to come together. It definitely is. So let's build up some more vertical stuff. In probably 10 minutes or so, I'm going to transition to working on the patterns.
And while he does that, I am going to silently keep working on the outlines
No, you're
over
going to be
here.
helping with the bathrooms.
Why?
We're going all in on those.
Okay, everyone, I am helping with the bathrooms today. This is going to be a two-man job. That's when you know the bathrooms are getting serious.
It's real shit.
I am, frankly, a
It's
little
real shit,
scared
man.
for what we are going to witness here today on this stream. So over here, this will be one of the higher points of the land. I want to have the slide start kind of up high, so that way it has room to maneuver down to ground level. So the queue, the entrance I already laid out down here. It's a little kind of like light blue entrance here. There's going to be stairs throughout the queue that go up to this tower here, and then I'm going to have the slide, which I think for now I'll just make the color, let's say brown concrete. So we'll
Mhm.
start up here at this height. That will be the beginning of the slide, and it will wind kind of down to the bottom. So we want like a slide that's, think like, not like just a slide at a playground, but if any of y'all are familiar with Mountain Slide Winder at Dollywood, kind of like a big, kind of bobsledish slide, or like a water slide at a water park, or even, for those of you who are Universal fans, Fievel's American Tail Slide, rest in peace.
You know, that ride gets you. It got you surprisingly soaked.
It didn't get me that wet, which
You're
I'm
lucky.
thankful for because I rode it 2 days before it closed on a very cold day for Florida.
I remember you telling me about that, and I was like, I hope you get soaked, and you didn't, and I was furious.
Hmm.
Because the last time I rode it, I got absolutely drenched.
Well, it's okay because later that day I got completely soaked being the only person to be riding Dudley Do Right's Rips Off Alls. The line did not exist. I was the only one in the station because that's how cold it was.
Do you know what happened? Speaking of Dudley's, actually not speaking of Dudley's, but speaking around Dudley's, Rob said he hates Popeyes.
That's a choice.
Despises Popeyes. Like, there's nothing positive about it. I think it's one of the worst opinions I've ever heard.
You know what else is one of the worst opinions I've ever heard?
What?
Those of you who don't like the Minions.
Oh yeah, we love Minions here. We're big Minion lovers at Coasters and Crafters, Bundle Group, whatever we are now.
In fact, I'm working on making this building Minion yellow.
Is that? I'm just imagining a set of Crayola crayons, and one of the crayons has like the Minion goggles on it. It's Minion yellow.
Next time I visit the Crayola experience and go to the make your own crayon stand,
Dude, how
I'm
often
going
do
to
you
make
visit the
Minion
Crayola
red.
experience?
I have a season pass.
You're kidding. Are you not kidding? Frozen, that's
I'm kidding.
Are you sure?
I have been to the Crayola experience once in my life.
When? Why?
It was like when it first opened in Dallas, I think. It was like 2018, maybe? Could have
Next
been
time
earlier.
you're
I
like
don't
6
even remember.
years old.
I visit
Yeah,
the
it's fine,
Crayola.
then.
Well, no, I was like 13.
Close enough.
You're 2.
Oh? Who says that? Not me. I never said that.
You've never revealed your age on stream, I don't believe. So as a
I'm not
result,
2
since
years
I have
old.
claimed you're 2, you are in the public eye. 2 years old. I'm sorry.
By the way, I'm working on a little bit of actual terrain for the facade on the dark ride. Just trying to make this work visually. Just a bit
So
of
another issue is going to be how, from certain points of the land, like over here, you might have a higher up view, which might be a problem for the show building. However, and this is a unique thing for PNT because of the amount of fog on this server, from way over here at the top of the height where you'll start to slide, you're not going to see anything.
Okay, it shouldn't be a problem.
Whether or not you choose to tackle sightlines to that extreme is your choice, depending on how realistic you want your theme park to be, because even Disney probably would not try to hide a show building from all the way up here.
Guardians of the
For
Galaxy
instance,
show building?
in a more classic example, in Splash Mountain, you can just easily see like the unthemed side of the Tiki Room building.
Or Space Mountain show building is just a themed show building. You could just theme your show building.
That
Truthfully.
too.
You don't necessarily need to hide it. You could just make it work in the land. So, a really bad example is Web Slingers. Because it's like an industrial park, technically, the show building for Web Slingers fits. Because it's like an industrial campus. Marvel's, what's it called? Marvel's Avengers Campus?
Avengers Campus.
Yeah, there we go. Just Avengers Campus. That's a terrible land, by the way. Don't base what you're going to be designing things off of with that land.
Seconded. Seconded.
Please. It's not even like an ironic bad, it's just a bad land. Very
Avengers
like
Canvas.
nothing positive about it. Okay, there we go. Just a
But you know what isn't a bad land?
That's a terrible land, by the way. Don't
What?
base with
Minion
your
Park
redesigning
at
the
Universal
combo.
Studios Japan. Now, Minion Park happens to feature a ride, I believe, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like kind of like a sled flat ride themed like
Isn't
a
it-
freeze ride.
Yeah,
Which is why I am currently making a freeze ray blue building to go along with my Minion yellow building.
I see. It's very bold of you, Frozen. You should be proud.
I am.
You know, before we move on to making the bathrooms, I saw a kind of interesting thing earlier today. The person who invented the blue, like, raspberry flavor, where did he get the idea of a blue raspberry, and where did he get the idea that that's what it would taste like?
Did you find the answer?
No.
Oh,
I'm posing
well.
the question to you. Like, how do you think that happened? He's like, you know, if a raspberry was blue, this is how it would taste.
Yeah, I think we need to pull in an expert for that one. I say
Pull in
bring
Chezzer.
Chezzer in here.
Bring in Mr. Cherry, please. We need him for this one.
All right. What's up?
How do you think they came up with the idea of blue raspberry flavor?
Well, I've never tried a blue raspberry anything, so.
Do they not have it over there in New Zealand?
Well, they probably do, but not as much.
That's a good thing.
Is it
It's not very
bad?
good.
Right.
It's an
But-
acquired taste.
I mean, speaking like logically, a blueberry is probably where they got it from.
No. It is definitely not.
It's not.
No.
Do we have
It's
any other
not
experts we can
very-
pull in for this one? Because I don't think Chezzer's answer has been sufficient.
Mr. Cherry has let us down when talking about
Well,
cherries.
I am a fruit, as per my last name, so I think I know what I'm talking about here.
You should just thought that I am a fruit. well, I'm a fruit. That would have been awesome.
Well, I'm
Frozen,
sorry
it's
I
about
couldn't
time.
have your services for you.
Well, Ryan, it's fine. Are you hyped for the bathroom design?
I'm so hyped. I'm so ready for it.
That's what we're moving to, like right now.
In a
Awesome.
second.
Frozen, are you
Guys,
almost
get ready. It's about to get awesome. It's gonna get wild.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get like some toilet emojis in chat? Can we get some of those? Because this is gonna be awesome.
I can't wait to see zero interaction with your comment. I'm just gonna be so happy at that.
Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it. You're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, that's.
I say let's move to bathrooms in 5 minutes. What do you think?
Why do you need 5 more minutes?
I would like to finish my rough queue pathing for this slide.
Fine. You have 5 minutes, Frozen.
Okay.
Not 1 minute more.
So normally, if it's, like the dark ride queue where it's all inside, I wouldn't really go in and like start doing the queue just yet. But since this slide has like the entrance and the station are so far from each other and it's kind of a terrain thing going on, I decided I'm just going to go ahead and outline this queue because it's a little bit weird and it's very drawn out.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where it's almost like a park path.
That's understandable. President. It's looking awesome what you're doing over there, brother.
Thank you very much.
Great job. Oh, we did get one toilet emoji from a moderator, so does that even count?
That was, in fact, a choice by that moderator. Whoever you are, yeah.
Awesome comment, President.
So I'm almost done connecting my queue. So I kind of segmented it into pieces. So I had my entrance sign. I'm thinking about theming this ride to a log flume, even though it's a slide. So the entrance side, I might have like a big log kind of hanging off from like this archway. Then there's
Sounds like
going
a
to be a
great
bridge that goes up the hill. This is all going to be terrain. Then you'll have a section where it becomes a balcony, goes up into maybe a mill house up here. I made a building. I might change the theme of said building later. And then it goes up to the station, which is kind of just a big building up there. Again, not sure what I'm going to do for that building yet. So I wanted to design kind of a dynamic queue, works up this hill, has multiple kind of different areas of it, changes throughout the queue. Just wanted to do something more than like a cattle pen or one turn. Sometimes queues can be used to tell a story as well.
We have done a lot of that. Queues telling stories. You could really use it for your advantage because unlike, let's say, random buildings that the guests can enter if they want, but like there's nothing making them. With the ride, they need to walk through the queue, so you have a much better chance of getting them to actually understand the story through putting stuff through the line, because it's like mandatory viewing in a way. Or
I agree.
You can't ignore it, but you're gonna see it no matter what.
Unless you have expedited queuing, such as Fast Pass, that is.
If your server sells Fast Pass, good on you. But I personally am not a fan of digital Fast Passes.
Okay, so I haven't finished outlining my queue, but I've made the outline for where the pathing will go. So I'd say at this point I am going to call it quits for now until the next panel. And I think it is time to spend these remaining 27 minutes making and fully finishing, I assume, the best bathroom that we can make.
You can TP to see what I did with the exterior of the show building of the ride so far. I got through a bunch of the outlining and a good chunk of the terrain to hide it.
If you haven't seen it already, I just want to make you aware of the sight line here, TP, that I've created that will probably mess you up just a little bit, but so far you're working.
I'm putting some forest shit up here. We're gonna be able to put trees.
Okay, so you plan to do trees. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
There's gonna be a tree layer up there, and that should cover everything.
Okay, that's good.
The orange here is bathrooms. I know it's a very tall building.
That is a tall drink of water.
The interior will not be as tall. But let's just start working. Yeah. Let's start working on the advanced bathroom design portion.
Mm-hmm.
Building up the walls and deciding where sinks are going.
So there isn't a ton to outline with a bathroom, I will admit. Before you get moving, especially just because of how small a bathroom is. Eventually, you just gotta take the plunge. However, this is a good time to add maybe some slightly smaller details, like, I might add a little, kind of an overhang here outside, a little balcony. Maybe I'll add a smaller balcony and with the window space up here. Just some little things.
Yeah.
And then inside, Jacob is working on the stalls. So I think now I'll probably get started with the exterior facade of the bathroom, unless we just want to do the interior today. What are you thinking?
I think we're just doing interior. We're gonna make this interior as good as possible.
Okay, so then exterior facade, we will leave that for when we actually make all of our exteriors in the land, but I do want to point out this is about the finished state of an outline before you would start turning it into an actual building. This is usually where I'd leave it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't
So
want to have like the walls fully built. You want to have space in between so you can like see everything what you're doing. It's like a wireframe in 3D modeling. That's essentially what you're doing.
Laser with a changing table stall in the back here. 2 stalls.
Wait, so this is the ladies' room. This side.
Yeah.
Are we going to incorporate urinals on the men's side?
Yes.
Where do you plan to put said urinals?
This will be single stall with also
Ooh.
dressing station. And then let me see actually. I have an idea. This could work really well for men's. This, we're gonna flip this.
So unfortunately, because I don't think Jacob actually gave this bathroom enough ground space, this is about the situation, the unfortunate situation you'd find yourself in if you ever try to go to the bathroom in Six Flags Magic Mountain. Not enough stalls, not enough urinals, not enough anything. You will probably have to wait, and it's not going to be fun trying to do your business.
No, I got it to work. Look. So we get 2 stalls.
Uh-huh.
And over here, we put urinals. We put like
That's kind of okay. Okay.
yeah,
So I'm not gonna lie, I don't love this design. I'm not a fan. However,
okay, let's rework
I
it.
will work with it.
We could re-outline the bathroom to have more room if you want.
Should we have it extend further into the building?
We could do that. You could also make it wider if you wanted. Or do you
Do we
think the
have
width is
to-
fine?
I think the width is okay. I don't think the width is the problem. I think we just need more room for urinals. And I guess on the women's side, we will add more stalls. So normally I'd say you put the stalls in the back. So I think 2 stalls is fine probably for the men's restroom.
That's long
Let's
enough
keep
now
it
for sure.
2, yeah. We just need to add space for like I don't know a lot of urinals.
A urinal wall.
Indeed. Whoa! Well, we don't need sinks across the entire thing. I'd say 4 sinks is probably all you're getting.
And then what if we do this?
Because then you can use that wall space.
Where we put a divider here.
Yeah.
Some bathrooms have, dedicated urinal sections in the back.
Oh, you want? Okay, we can do that.
Like Disney has a divider in theirs. With a lot of them. I'd say 6 urinals. Huh?
Okay. Now I will confess, while Jacob does bathrooms frequently, I do not. So, as a result, I am not as good at doing this.
Really?
Yes?
It's the easiest thing. Bathrooms are pretty easy.
And yet we are dedicating 27 minutes of a panel to it, which I think tells you something about bathrooms.
They're easy, but they're also a craft.
Exactly.
5 urinals is fine. That's more than enough. Okay,
Remember to
yeah.
consider the crowd flow of your amusement park when making this. If you're going to have 5 guests online, you need to have 10 urinals per bathroom. You
Let's
never
make
know how
this-
many they might need.
Let's make this a full handicap stall here. Or wait a second.
Do you plan to only have a handicapped stall for girls?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even consider it.
Okay,
I was
so,
wait a second. I don't have a handicap stall over there.
while Jacob over here is being discriminatory, I am going to start with the flooring.
That's a great decision.
Now, personally, I am a fan of checkerboards. I don't know about you all. I love checkerboards. I think for a bathroom and kind of a rustic, almost turn of the century section, it would make a lot of sense to do a little checkerboard just for fun. Because otherwise, you're probably just going to make a flat, tile or something for your bathroom. So I would say let's do a checkerboard. Now, I may change the palette that I'm going to do. I think copper is great for bathrooms. Wouldn't you agree, Jacob?
No comment.
Uh-oh. It looks like I've encountered a subjective block.
I was just pulling your leg. I think copper's great.
So I'm actually going to do... My initial pattern I didn't like as much. I'm just going to do a more simple pattern. I'm going to use exposed cut copper. And then I'm going to use waxed exposed copper to make a little pattern where both blocks are kind of similar, but it still forms a checkerboard in the end. Now, with a checkerboard, you gotta do it by hand, because it's a checkerboard. It's not something you can world edit. Now, who makes the world edit plugins? Can we get them into CoasterCon this year?
I don't think we're gonna be able to pull that one off. I think that's
You never know.
It's a bit out of our league.
I don't know how we managed to book Kenai Redstone.
That's true. Kanai is an incredible person. Absolutely incredible. What a guy.
Kenai, how are you doing today? We're happy to have you here.
Can I ask you a question? I think I heard my name.
No, he thinks he heard your name.
I'm in live on YouTube.
You're streaming too?
Of course, he's streaming us streaming.
Oh,
Isn't that wonderful?
so I've got our pattern for half of our bathrooms, as in I've added it to the male side. Now, since we are apparently being discriminatory today, maybe I should do a different tile pattern on the other side of the bathroom. What do you think, Jacob?
I don't know. Maybe.
No. I'm good. Now, can
I'm
we
working
please
on stall
poll,
design right now? by the
if
way.
you will, Ryan Hamilton Cherry to the stage so that he can give us a brief lecture on his favorite bathrooms in the world?
That would be a good thing to get here.
Hello.
Hello, Chesser.
Summoned?
Please tell us about your favorite bathrooms in the world as we build a bathroom.
Well, I haven't really been around the world, so I couldn't give you a complete list.
You've
But,
been to the United States.
My favorite bathrooms in the world
Mhm.
Has to be definitely Jacob Ackerman's bathroom.
You mean
Oh.
the Nemo bathroom?
What?
No, the one in your house.
The Nemo bathroom?
Oh yeah, that's right. It's Nemo. Yes, that definitely is one of my favorite bathrooms. Easily one of my favorite bathrooms.
It's an incredible thing, isn't it?
It's otherworldly.
Right? Person's so
What about
confused
you,
right now.
Jacob?
Like what?
What's your favorite bathroom?
Before they redid it, there was a really good bathroom in Epcot that nobody ever went to, and it was the most ideal place. Right by Test Track. You know where they had the Epcot showcase? Where they were showing the future of Epcot. That thing.
So the
That
ones
building?
inside the Odyssey building.
Yeah, but before that showcase was there, nobody was ever there.
Okay.
So they were like the cleanest bathrooms in Disney. Unfortunately, they've been removed from existence.
My favorite bathrooms have got to be the ones in Wizarding World because those bathrooms do something that few bathrooms ever do. They are themed,
They smell like a bathroom.
but they also have fancy Harry Potter-esque piping, and they have audio of the character Moaning Myrtle,
I would
who
never
was
define
found in the
British people
bathroom.
as fancy. I just wouldn't.
Okay.
By the way, I'm not gonna do an ADA stall back here. You know what I'm gonna do?
Oh.
Changing bench in that back corner.
Okay. At least that makes it equally not ADA compatible.
And for a changing bench in the men's, I'm gonna do it right there.
I remember one time,
Do
I
you like
believe
my
it was
stall
on.
design, by the way?
I do. I do like the stall design. I remember one time on a server that I worked on, there was a bathroom in it that it was a nice bathroom,
Only
designed
one
pretty well.
bathroom?
There was just one problem with it, and that was that the mirrors in the bathroom, right?
Were they ice?
They were glass.
Ah,
So as a result, you looked into the other bathroom.
awesome.
I just think that in real life, maybe that would be frowned upon.
Maybe. Who am I to
I don't.
say? What is Kenai Redstone going on about right now?
I have no idea.
We have 11 minutes left first, and we gotta pick up the pace.
Oh, we'll finish in 11 minutes. I'm not worried.
I'm gonna flip my stall design
Okay.
to the other side.
I'm gonna decide what the wall's gonna be.
There we go with that. Damn. All right. So it's this, and the rest is the mud. I love mud block. It is such a good block.
I think for the wall in the middle, we're going to make it a different texture from everything else to kind of represent, like in real bathrooms, you have like a tile wall on one side. So that's what we're going to do here. What do you think about that?
Not against it. I think it works. Makes sense. Finally, it plays great. We're speed running bathrooms right now.
Generally, when you build a bathroom in Minecraft, it's not going to take this much time. Just so you know, don't feel overwhelmed by how long we have spent making a bathroom.
We're just detail oriented when it comes to bathrooms in specific. Nothing else do we care this much
I agree.
about.
I agree.
Oh my god, man. What a guy. What a guy.
Just remember, everyone, if you are like Kanai Redstone, you will get mentioned on this stream. Which is to say, I'm afraid none of you are as cool as he is.
It is
Sorry.
true. Nobody is. Alright, now put in kernels. We'll do
We're starting to run out of time on these bathrooms. I don't know if we're finishing this.
but we're gonna finish this, Frozen.
We will see.
We will finish this. There is no doubt. We will. I'm speed running right now. Advanced urinal design.
I think they have that class in my college.
Advanced urinal design?
Yeah, I was
Sign
looking at
me
the course
up.
selection.
I'm gonna put in lighting.
Okay.
Quickly, Frozen, quickly. You must work. You must speed run the bathrooms, Frozen.
Now, it is important for a second, just a tangent I'd like to go off on, to talk about the Minecraft theme park community and workplace harassment. You see, if someone like Jacob is harassing you to get something done quickly, just remember, put your own life first. Do not give in to pressure from peers.
Work on the bathroom! Work!
If worst comes to worst, and you have the permissions, you can always just ban the offender.
Don't. Don't do it, Frozen. We don't have the time. We don't have the time for this, Frozen.
Now, normally, I would ban him. However, Jacob has made the good argument that, yeah, we really don't have time.
If you do that, you're compromising the whole thing.
I know. Just remember, just say no to workplace harassment.
It's... Quickly, Frozen. We need a roof. Need a roof. We're now. This is like we're in a Minecraft championship here. For
I have a question. I need you to help us out. Can you tell us what roof is in Spanish?
roof.
Well,
Very creative. You guys
I
stole
was
that from us English speakers. I'm almost done. I'm almost done with lighting.
now if you walk inside the bathroom right now, it looks a bit like something from a horror movie, but that's okay.
No,
Sometimes
I got the lighting in.
sometimes bathrooms need to look like that in order for you to do your business
By the way,
in a
you've not
pleasurable
even done
manner.
the men's bathroom. You've not even done the men's at this point.
No, I know. I think at this point our goal for this stream is just to show one bathroom completed because we are running out of time. I'm gonna leave that wall undone because it's part of the exterior. So we've got the interior. Really, now we just need the lights, and then it's about done. This is a pretty simple bathroom interior, I would say.
Did
What do
you
you
do the
think, Jacob?
stalls? Did you put a toilet and sink inside each stall?
I did not. What do we want to
Do
do
that.
for our toilet design?
Figure it out quickly. You have 3 minutes. 3 minutes, Frozen. 3 minutes.
Okay, so we need a toilet. What else do we need?
Sink. Actually, you don't really need
Inside?
a sink inside
Yeah,
the
not.
stalls.
We have a whole wall of sinks. We don't want sinks inside the stalls.
And just, I don't know. You figure that out. Or put it inside there.
Well, so we have our toilet. I'm gonna put a tripwire and a little shelf because I feel like it's good to have hangers. It's good to have shelves inside your bathrooms. I always prefer bathrooms that have those. I don't know about y'all. What do you think about that, Jacob? Do you like bathrooms that have places to store your things?
Yeah. Of course.
Exactly. And lastly, just as a finishing cosmetic touch, I'm going to add.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I'm gonna add,
A painting as you enter.
one painting.
Yes, one. One painting.
Awesome.
Two paintings.
I'm almost
Three,
over the
I'm-
roof. I'm
I'm
so
capping
close.
it at 3. What else are you doing to the roof?
I'm just adding a detail section. Okay, I'm done. I'm finished.
Okay, 3:59, folks. We have finished one bathroom.
I think that's good. It honestly looks like it's a nice bathroom.
I would love to take a poo in this bathroom.
This is the woman's bathroom, Frozen.
The other bathroom, the one that's not finished. My mistake.
Hey, Cheza, can we get your opinion on what just happened? What Frozen
Uh-oh.
just
Uh-oh.
said?
I think that's it's a bit weird, man.
A bit weird, champ.
It's a little bit weird.
You know what else is weird, Chezzer? Not having tried blue raspberry.
That
Well,
is
I
weird.
agree, but like it's not as weird as wanting to have a wee in the woman's bathroom.
He didn't say a we. He wants to go all in,
All
bathroom.
in.
Bathroom,
Number 2 and 3.
Number 3, oh god, Armageddon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's stream. We went over outlining, concepting, general layout design, and of course, advanced bathroom design. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. We're planning on maybe doing this once a month, isn't that right, Chezzer?
Yep, once a month, weekend workshop. Next time
All
it might be
right.
on a weekend.
Yeah, we did it on
It's
a
technically
Friday.
a weekend now, but technically not. So
But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for stopping in with us, and thank you Project New Tomorrow for hosting us. And if anybody would like to visit the server, fully free to play. No plugins are paid for, and yeah,
and
great
you can
place
get
to
here
chill.
by doing /workshop after the event if you want to get here and see it for yourself if you're watching the recording.
And if you want
That
to
is
visit the
definitely
server,
possible.
it's mc.projectnewtomorrow.org on
Oh yeah.
1.20.4. That's it. And yeah, have a great rest of your day, everybody. And thank you for attending today's event.
All right. Thanks for coming, everyone.